Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. The purpose of my content is to help people start investing or get their next deal. So I bring on Michael Zuber from One Rental at a Time and Matt, the Lumberjack Landlord, and we share our strategies that I've used for the last 10 years, they've used for the last 20 years to reach financial freedom and make work optional. But what I want to do now is put us in your shoes. Right now, as 2022 starts, if we were starting to invest now with everything that's going on in the housing market, how would we start to build a portfolio if we didn't have one now? So let's start with Mike. If you were starting from ground zero, what would that look like?
Yeah, the good news is I think about this a lot. And there's one thing that I would do over again, and it's focus and daily discipline. That worked for me. It's written in my book, One Rental at a Time. But on top of that, there are two things that I did wrong that I discovered later that I would do day one. And it'd be a rocket ship for my portfolio. I would go much, much faster. First is I didn't realize how important savings were for my day job, right? We were spending 100% of our take home. I didn't ratchet back needs versus wants until like year 3 or 4 because I was frankly lazy. I had this capital that I had thankfully saved by getting out of the market after losing 80%. And I relied on that to be my seed capital for my first 3. So I didn't start saving until all that money was gone. I should have started saving immediately. I should have whacked my expenses harder, which would allow me to snowball and get going even faster. And then the biggest one, my worst mistake, my embarrassment of all embarrassments is I did not appreciate this was a people business. I thought the answer lived in Excel. I played with Excel for 4 or 5 years. I didn't grow my network. I didn't meet new people. I didn't ask for referrals. I didn't tell people what I was shopping for. I lost 5 years of building a network that now sounds impressive at 500-600 people. It should be 3,000 or 4,000 people. And it was those first 5 years I missed. The deals that I got done the last 2 years, 95% were because of my network. Buying out of the MLS is hard. It can happen. I've done it. But when you have the MLS and your network, it's awesome. So tell everybody what you're looking at. Document what you are doing. And I would do today I would do a YouTube channel. When I started, I did a blog. But again, you do that early. You tell people what you're doing. You get access to private money. You get deal flow. You get, hey, my so-and-so is moving. It's just an amazing time. The ability to take your passion and discipline and monetize it. And I don't mean ad revenue. I mean, get deal flow is just outstanding. So if I had to do it all again, I would do focus and daily discipline. I got that right. But I would grow my network like a crazy. I'd try to meet 2 or 3 people a week minimum. And I would start saving because again, the more you can save and start to snowball, instead of having 3 at the end of 3 years, I might've had 4. And again, once you start this snowball, it really picks up velocity. So I made lots of mistakes that I would do over again.
Yeah, my goal, probably our goal, is to get everybody to that snowball state, because what most people don't realize is that first, before the snowball, it's difficult because you right now don't know it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Once it happens, what people don't realize is it's hard to keep up with.
Yeah.
The money starts coming in and you have to figure, I have to find a job for this money.
Yeah.
So if you were going to start now, Matt, with no portfolio, no rental income, what would that look like for you?
House hacking 4-3-2-1. Yep, that's what it would be. So the house hack 4-3-2-1 is basically quadplex, triplex, duplex, single family. I would definitely do that. I'd probably put off. I did 9 house hacks. I did 9. I would do more of them.
I hope people hear that.
Yep, I would do more of them. Yeah, I was broke as a joke for a long time. Yep. So I would do more house hacks.
And how I'm curious because I love that answer. Would you try to get 1 a year, 1 every 2 years? Do you have any idea?
So I did pretty much 1 a year.
Okay.
I slowed down at the end. And Mrs. Lumberjack will speak to that tonight because I'm going to put her on the hot seat. But yeah, it was when I was single, it was probably it was until I could save up the down payment for the next one.
Okay.
But after the first couple, then it became the ability to do a cash out refi.
Yeah, exactly.
So the cash out refi is largely what paid my deposit for the next one after the first, 2, 3. So then it was cash out refis, but I could get owner occ loans. And so those worked really well. I think the only other thing that I would have done would have been probably be more selective in my market selection. I think that I could have picked the market that I ended up in 4 years earlier. And had I done that, I'd be probably 20% bigger than I am now. Because effectively, I was actually talking about with Ashley, of the first 6 assets, of the first 6 buildings that I bought, I only own one of them anymore. So 5 out of the 6 are gone. And there are multifamilies in there. I sold multis. And I sold those multis because they were too far out of my circle of I guess work and what I wanted to do. And so I sold those multis, and now those multis are worth a ton more money than even what I sold them for. And I sold them in 2018. But yeah, if I had to do over again, I would basically do the same thing with house hacking, but I would use the 4-3-2-1 strategy. So I would start at a bigger unit at 4, as opposed to condo and house hacking that, and then a single family and house hacking that. And then, I would change that up, because I would have started off with a lot more units, with a lot more money, with a lot less money in them.
There's 2 things that I would do if I was starting right now. The first one is specific to me. The second one is something that all 3 of us are doing. And it's probably the biggest takeaway that anybody watching this right now should take. The first thing I would do is run it like a business from day one. I thought I was going to jump into real estate and replace my W-2 income without any education. I rented to a friend with no lease. I had no systems in place. It takes 13 weeks in boot camp to become a Marine, and then you go to infantry school after that. And then it takes 6-month police academy to become a police officer. If you want to work in a field that requires a degree, you're talking years in school to do that. And I thought I was just going to replace my income by jumping into real estate. So run it like a business from day one, which means systems and educating yourself, what you're doing here. But the second thing, the most important thing I think anybody can take away from this video, the 3 of us, none of us said, I know so much that in a year I'd be financially free.
No.
So I have this conversation with new investors often. It's actually why I made the video that came out last week on new investor conversations. And it's the timeline that matters. With house hacking, with growing your network, we're talking 5 to 10 years to be financially free. Most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 5. So do the work, daily discipline, but understand that there's a chronology to it. And those first 3 or 4 years, even with the knowledge that we have, we all know it would take a couple of years to even get towards the snowball. So that's what I'm hoping people take away from this. Any closing thoughts, Mike?
What I would tell you is it's absolutely possible, right? You've heard the statistics endlessly that most real estate, or most millionaires, have done it or hold it in real estate. It can be done. There is a path. I would tell you the path is pretty worn. It's not fast. It takes years. The first 3 or 4 years are slower than you would like, but the last 4 or 5 are awesome. Get in the game. It's worth it.
And Matt, any final thoughts?
Don't do the work. I don't want the competition.
That is, of course, why you made a YouTube channel and you're trying to educate people on exactly how to become your competition, just like the rest of us are.
Dion picks up on the irony. I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, people have to make the choice. I can't do it for them. They can't do it for them. They're not going to get the answer, the magic answer for $5 watching some jackass's live stream. It's not going to work. You got to actually do the work. You actually have to, do the work, read the books, read the courses. The fact of the matter is, it's a magical time. None of that stuff was available 10 years ago. Certainly not 20 years ago.
Oh, God. You know what? Yeah. My God.
And like things like, Angie's List for finding a contractor. What are you joking? Like, welcome to the yellow pages, and then trying to get that guy to call you back. Like, it's a completely different world that we live in now. And so if you don't do it now and you can't get going on this, you're just lazy. Lazier than Dion.
Which is saying a lot. Because the strongest motivation to make work optional is being lazy. I didn't want to have to get up and go to work. That's the whole reason I got into investing. So if somebody wants to reach out with questions, Mike, how can they find you?
Go to your Google search bar, type in one rental at a time. You should see all kinds of stuff. And Saturday mornings, 8 a.m., we will do a live stream.
And Matt, if somebody wants to reach out to you, how can they find you?
8 o'clock this Thursday night, Mr. and Mrs. Lumberjack. If your couple is having trouble getting somebody on board, you're the couple that's the driver and somebody else is just dragging their feet. Come on over, check us out, have some fun with me and my wife talking about how we built the real estate empire we have.
Awesome. I think the way to prove everything that we've talked about today would be for all of us to just donate our portfolios and start over and prove that we could do it.
But not today.
But not today.
Until my next video, thanks for coming to my Dion Talk.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.